In anticipation, I wait, I yearn to see, to feel the sensation of your aura taking me. The fireflies spark the incandescent glow, brighten the dark, both our souls now know. Fascinated, entranced, your aura speaks to me, by deity enhanced. Love will forever be.
I do not know if any other man has seen an aura as specific or delightful as the one I saw when first I viewed the delightful Antania. There she stood, bedraggled, pale from weeks kept in a cargo hold, with hollow cheeks and bruises under each eye. She was gathering together the 5 children she had been told to care for, and I looked at her, and all I could see, aside from the magnificent glow of her aura, was the 4 ghostly images holding the hands of the 5 children. It was as if I saw the aura of 5 individuals on that day. Much later in my life, as the midwife passed my 3rd daughter into my arms just after her birth, I realized in an instant that the substance of her soul had included all 4 of the children she would bring into our union. I was admonished at an early age to have faith in the promises of deity, told that if I was willing to keep my faith, that I would have immeasurable rewards. My 5 adopted children, 4 natural children, and of course my Antania, have been a reward I would have considered incomprehensible. Feldrum Inscrito.
Once they arrived at the stable, Gregorio instructed Wraith to settle both of their horses. While she worked, his thoughts wandered. He and his younger brother Dominic had both decided in their teens that they would depart from tradition. Gregorio decided to hold off on experiencing sexual gratification and intimacy until he discovered his Kaylee through the viewing of the aura. Dominic's plan was different. He was inexplicably scarred by one of the ensayos they read as young boys. As a result, he concluded that the Estolian way required seduction and sometimes even abduction, and it was not going to be his way. Dominic's plan was to remove all temptation, and live his life celibate and alone, never knowing the warmth of feminine companionship. He did not wish to be tempted to tread upon the rights of any woman. The brothers often discussed their perceptions with each other. Gregorio did not see seduction and abduction when he read the capítulos and ensayos. But Dominic was inflexible in his views. Their father did not seem to be worried, even in the face of their rebellious declarations just after their respective blessings at 18. As Gregorio watched Wraith lead the horses into the stable, his father spoke quietly from behind him.
Wraith is an interesting name. She is beautiful.
Gregorio's fascination with his assistant was obvious to his family.
I did not invite her to Estolia for her beauty. She is very organized,
Gregorio asserted.
Wraith is one of the reasons I had you return. She belongs here in Estolia. It will be interesting to discover who will see her aura. Perhaps your cousin Zeke will see it.
Gregorio rejected the notion that any Estolian might claim her and take her away from him. He looked at Wraith again, wanting nothing more than to go to her side, touch her, kiss her, and then quite shamelessly claim her. He shook his head, trying to shake the sudden erotic turn his thoughts were taking. Clearing his throat, he said loudly,
Wraith, my father and I will be right outside when you are done with Adelphia.
Gregorio left the stable and sat on a bench under an olive tree. His father sat next to him.
In all the time I have been with Wraith, I have treated her as a valued employee. That will not change here in Estolia.
He glanced at the stable, imagining the Wraith within, wishing suddenly that she would show him her aura. The aura, a firefly spark, the visual manifestation of direct soul-to-soul communication, where one's soul recognized its perfect mate. But surely, he thought to himself, if she was going to show her aura, she would have done it by now. Especially considering how much he loved her. The thoughts flying through his mind were revelatory. He did love her. He probably had from the beginning, which explained why he so frequently dreamed of her body entwined with his, her warmth of spirit warming his, for the rest of time. Everything that she was he loved. Perhaps, he thought hopefully, now that he had recognized his feelings, her aura would manifest. He shook his head slightly and returned his attention to his father. He knew that he had missed some of what he said. His father chuckled, shaking his head ruefully.
I think you never truly studied the capítulos and ensayos the way you should have during your acolyte year. You and your brother were too full of your plans for rebellion to pay proper attention.
He sighed, but to Gregorio, the sound was one of contentment instead of exasperation.
I am sorry we were such a trial to you, Father.
Gregorio said.
You must take the time to open your heart to the Spirit. Allow deity to guide you in ways that you have avoided for your entire life. I decided I would not interfere beyond asking you to come home prior to your birthday. The rest is up to you.
He needed to change to a less volatile subject.
What is going to happen with Zeke? Is it not unheard of for the keeper to be unable to experience the greatest blessings of deity?
He asked. His father's voice was measured, slipping into the teaching cadence that Gregorio remembered from his acolyte year.
It has happened a couple other times. In all those cases, it was some extraordinary event that prevented the future keeper from consummating his union on his birthday. I believe that deity acts for the good of our nation. Someday, Zeke will see why he was made to experience this setback.
Gregorio's attention was diverted from the trials of his cousin by the reappearance of Wraith. She was as beautiful as ever with her large blue-green eyes, kissable lips and toffee-colored hair, but she did not glow with an aura. She was the same woman he had lived with for the last 8 months. He tried to contain the disappointment he felt. If she did not show him her aura, he doubted he would ever see any aura. How could any other woman compete with her? Especially when she held his heart and mind. He got to his feet and crossed to her side, asking,
Are they all settled?
Yes,
she said.
I'm impressed by the extent of the royal stables here.
She gestured at the sprawling complex, the large draft horses in the nearby field, and an Estolian stallion in the paddock just behind them.
It's amazing.
Theo responded.
Estolia is almost entirely equestrian-based transport. Because of this, the royal stables serve a critical need.
Wraith was shown to an enormous bedroom by one of the servants in the palace. She had never fully realized how exalted Gregorio's family connections were. But once she got over the shock at their titles and positions, she began to get a sense that there were elements to the nation of Estolia that did not fit in the greater world. The king seemed to expect her to treat him with great casualness, just as he was treated by those who worked in the immense palace. She took a shower, wrapped one of the warmed towels around her body, and was looking through the clothing in her suitcase when there was a tap on her door. Before she could respond, it opened and 2 women stepped into the room, a brunette and a redhead. The brunette closed the door behind her and grinned.
You must be Wraith,
the redhead said. She crossed over to Wraith, still standing in just a towel.
I'm Lilane.
She gestured to the other woman.
And this is Cassie. We will be formally introduced later, but we didn't want to wait.
Cassie moved closer to Lilane.
We wanted to make sure you would be able to dress properly for the celebration.
I don't really know what to wear,
Wraith admitted. For the last 8 months she lived and worked at the Zacarian stable in Barcelona. They did not have fancy celebrations, though they did have some formal occasions, like when the delegation from Hath had visited. But in those situations, she was working, and it was easy to make decisions from the perspective of work. The celebration feast here in Estolia was a family affair, and she did not have a pre-planned outfit to wear. Cassie crossed over to a door that led to a large walk-in closet. Most of her clothes were already in the closet, but what stood out to Wraith was a beautiful dress in gold and silver.
Please wear this dress, Wraith.
Lilane pleaded with her.
Okay.
Wraith said. She felt awkward.
Great!
Cassie grinned.
We will leave you to get dressed.
She grabbed Lilane's hand and the 2 left as swiftly as they had arrived.
The glorious aura supplies us, heals the cavernous rift of our soul's emptiness. The firefly spark, the incandescent glow, brighten the dark of our souls now. No, fascinated, entranced, your aura speaks to me by deity enhanced. Love will forever